Pre-workout going in: 1 tin of tuna, 10 grams of light mayo, 75 grams of green beans, 50 grams of peas, 50 grams of oats, 20 grams of whey, and then also the Walden Farms. This is a pancake flavoured, like basically 0 calories syrup. Very, very nice. I actually got this yesterday. I didn't utilise this in my prep. I know this is like more like an American thing that's come over. I know a lot of people use it. The only reason I haven't used it so far in any kind of cutting down phase is because I knew it was going to be really nice, and I've heard a lot of stories of people kind of not necessarily getting addicted to it, but using it excessively, and obviously it's very, very high in sodium. With my tuna, I also have 50% less sugar and salt, ketchup and mustard as well. So these two combo really, really nice. That's my staple pre-workout at the moment, which I'm finding works really well. Macros at the moment, I'm roughly about sort of 2,300 calories, 225 grams of protein, anywhere between 250 and 275 grams of carbs, and 40 grams of fat. So it's quite low, but it's a point where I'm not doing as much cardio as I like. So obviously I brought food down purely because based on my lifestyle, my job, I'm not doing as much as I thought I would be. So I'm trying to get more cardio sessions in, a few less steps that I would normally be doing, and I've just brought food down a little bit. So pre-workout going in, I'm gonna go for 5 grams creatine, 10 grams of essential amino acids, and finally going for, I think in the off season I was having 25 grams of this, 25 to 50 grams. I'm just having 15 at the moment. I'm still having this as an intro. As my carbs go a little bit lower, I'll take it out. Serious key ingredient to make it taste nice: 0 calorie summer fruits. So that's my intro drink. My pre-workout today, you know I like the Redcon 1 and the Ghost Lifestyle. This one, maximum strength, AXIOM, pre-workout formula. I've never heard of this, got it free from a store in Chelmsford called PNG, so I'm going to try this out for today's session.
Fox.
I don't got a job, but I'm getting paid. City next up, check the accolades. Never act afraid. You can ride a boat, but I'll crash your waves. Come and get a taste. Oh Lord, she feeling the more. I hit it to leave, no feeling remorse. I'm feeling myself, I really need more. You got it on lock while I'm breaking the door. Ride around the city with a top down. Shorty face get low when I drop down. Never had no help, only out myself. Bad luck go down when I spaz out. Look, I'm sick as fuck, but I'ma still record it. When I spit the flow, that's the only one. And feeling like I'm wanted, I'ma always want it. Give me like a moment, I'ma get the score and goddamn. Around and put you in the ground. Y'all talking shit, I'm the talk of the town. Bitch, I'm a king, you just holding my crown. Feel like the illest, I kill with the sound. I've been the best and they already know. Lapping these rappers, I'm going for gold. Pop up, you like it is, I gotta go. Do your bitch like a writer, cause I got a ghost. Talking that shit, but I'm up in your playlist. It's about to blow like a bomb when they play it. Got your bitch on her knees like she was praying. Fuck all you rappers and no, I'm not playing. Talking that shit, but I'm up in your playlist. It's about to blow like a bomb when they play it. Got your bitch on her knees like she was praying. Fuck all you rappers and no, I'm not playing. I got a pin and I aim at the net. People be talking, but they ain't a threat. Hop on a beat and I put it to rest. I don't mean to be rude, but you really a red. Rappers, I'm better than hating the most. You bring up my name, it'll end with a flow. I stay on the move, got a head and a scope. Do this all on my own, ain't nobody I owe. Hold up, give me a minute. I've been in the mix and I'm too independent. I've been on the wave and they all fucking with it. We bout to come up and I'm stopping the business. I take the beat and I make it a ditch. You act like you hard, but you really a bitch. I'm not the one to go fake or pretend. They say that they love me, but hate when I win. I'm tired of hearing that you can do better. You grip the mic up on the stage and you choke. Fuck what you say, this is my open letter. And all of my people know I do the most. Give me some time and I promise I'll blow. Hate all you want, but my shit is still cold. Spend all my time making shit that is dope, but I swear I won't settle till I'm on the coast. Can.
What an absolutely fantastic session. So that is an incredible pull session. Energy levels high, numbers retained, some numbers beaten, contraction is absolutely fantastic. and I'm 6 kilos down already from when I started. So the main topic that I want to talk about in this video is how to retain muscle but still lose fat at the same time. So this is a common kind of myth where you'll see like before and after pictures and you want to kind of get toned or you want to get shredded as such. It doesn't quite work like that. So if you're a guy, you're gonna have to go through the kind of calorie surplus phase first, the kind of bulking stage, or as I call it, the off season, where you're gonna have to build that muscle. This stage takes a lot of time, and this is what I try and tell everyone, all my clients, that you're gonna have to invest into an off season. You have to accept that you're gonna have to eat more, you're gonna have to train hard, you're gonna have to lift heavier in order to build that muscle. So that's the very first part. You have to accept that you're gonna have to have that foundation first. You're gonna have to have that muscle tissue in order to cut down. Once you're ready to cut down, these are some of the things that I suggest in terms of retaining that muscle, retaining that strength, but at the same time losing fat in the process. The very first thing, and this is something that I really focused in my off season and even more so now, is creating a stress-free environment. So what do I mean by a stress-free environment? So everything around you, work, life, social life, relationships, family, everything like that, you've got to create a situation so you're not going to be getting stressed every single day. I personally feel that if I'm stressed about something and I think, okay, I've got this to do, I've got that to do, I'm going to have a really poor session. My numbers are going to drop, my motivation's not going to be there, and slowly over time, I'm going to be losing muscle tissue. So what do I suggest to you guys? Well, first of all, look at the environment around you. Do you enjoy spending time with your friends and your partner? Do you enjoy your work? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you planning out your day? All of these factors play a massive, massive part. The second point is mindset. So this is something that, funny enough, in my podcast with Keefe, he spoke a lot about mindset. And in Keefe's prep from 2018, he actually got stronger, even though he was dropping body weight and people around him were saying, you know, you're going to drop your body weight, you're going to get weaker. He actually got stronger, and I'm a big, big believer of this because I started out 96 kilos, I'm just under 91 now, and in some movements I'm actually getting stronger. I believe that mindset plays a massive, massive part in terms of your training, because if you go into a session or go into a set and you think, okay, this is going to be really heavy, I did this last week, I'm probably not going to do this week, you're going to fail, and each week you're going to slowly drop off. Instead, if you go into a set and you get your music on or whatever you get motivated by, and you know you're absolutely going to nail that set, then you're going to retain your muscle, you're going to retain your numbers. On a slight side note with this point, the best thing that I suggest for you to do is get yourself a logbook or basically track your lifts. In your off season, when you're going to be putting on weight, you're going to hopefully be progressing in the gym. So you know exactly what you're doing, you're going to be progressing week on week. So when you get into a cutting phase, you know your exact numbers, you know exactly what you're hitting, you know what you did the week before, you know what you're going to do in that particular session. You will have to accept that some numbers may drop. For me, my chest and shoulders have dropped a little bit, purely because any kind of push movement's slightly more difficult than pulling on legs. My pull day, my leg day has pretty much stayed the same. The third point is prioritizing your pre and post workout meals. So these meals are either going to fuel your session, as in your pre-workout, or it's going to replenish your session post workout. Again, this comes back to focus on your off season first. I got into a routine, I found consistency, I found what worked for me. So what I've just done is I've just carried it over into this cut. I haven't made crazy changes. All I've done is I know exactly what works, I know exactly how to build strength, and it's just a repetitive process. Your pre-workout meal is going to play a massive, massive part in your performance. Say, for example, your pre-workout meal is not brilliant at all. You're going to go into the session, you're going to feel sluggish, fatigue, lack of energy. You're just going to have a really rubbish performance. However, if your pre-workout meal is on point and it fills you up and it makes you feel energized, you're going to go into that session feeling good. So you can basically tick that box, and you know going into the session, you can do all you can to retain those numbers. The fourth point, and this is one that's individual to me, which worked, is pushing your food back to when you're hungry. So when you're in a deficit, you're going to be eating less food. So there's not going to be as many times during the day where you can get food in, or the meals aren't going to be as big. So what I started to do was push my very first meal back. So my first meal might be like 8, 9 o'clock. My pre-workout would be 11 or 12. I train, and then my post-workout. So rather than eating straight away as soon as I get up, and I feel like I need that food for the rest of the day, I've just kind of pushed it back a little bit. Again, just going back to my off season, I started doing this in my off season, so when I cut down, I knew exactly what I was doing. This has helped a lot in terms of for my kind of hunger levels. For my hunger levels, again, this goes back to the point before. If I'm feeling slightly hungry before my pre-workout and then I eat my pre-workout, I get this new lease of life, like I feel really energized. So my performance in the gym has been even better. So this is something that I highly recommend trying out. You know, you don't have to fast. It doesn't have to be like a cut-off point from like 8 to 6. Just try pushing your first meal back a little bit further. The fifth and final point that I want to make is your rest time in the gym. So don't feel that you do one set and then you have to time yourself for a minute or 90 seconds and you have to go straight back into it. Give yourself time. So between sets, especially your first 5 or 6, if you're doing a push day, it's going to be your heavy push movements. If you're doing a pull day, it's going to be your heavy puller movements. So give yourself time in between sets. This will basically allow you to give everything into that particular set. So again, going back to your logbook, your numbers are there, you know exactly what to retain or to beat, and then you go out and execute it. If you don't give yourself enough rest time, you know that your set's going to be rushed. So for example, say last week you did a 100 kilo bench for 10 reps, and you have done for the last 3 or 4 weeks. You could go into that set with not enough rest time, and you try and do 100 kilos, and you fatigue by 6, and then you're struggling at 7. For me, that's not a very good set because you haven't done all you can to ensure that you retain that number. I'm not talking about resting for 5 to 10 minutes and going off and talking and doing this and that and then coming back to the set. You've got to give yourself enough rest time, whether that's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever suits you best. When it comes to like the fluffy work, the raises, the flies, the push downs, the bicep curls, yeah, keep rest time a little bit shorter. But for those heavy compounds, you need to give yourself enough rest time and able to retain that number. So those are my 5 tips on how to drop weight but still retain muscle. I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.